Good afternoon, everyone. This is a public hearing on Bill 1021, Economic Development Strategic Plan, Economic Development Corporation duties. This bill would transfer the drafting of the county's Economic Development Strategic Plan from the executive to the county's Economic Development Corporation. It would require the executive to provide comments to the council on each draft by a certain date, and it would require the council to adopt the plan by a certain date and generally amend the law governing the county's economic development strategies. A Fed committee work session will be scheduled at a later date. Persons wishing to submit additional material for the council's consideration should do so before the close of business on April 6th. Ms. Kennedy, do we have speakers for this public hearing?
Good afternoon. Yes, we do. Our first speaker this afternoon is Jerome Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher, you have 2 minutes and you may begin as soon as you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council President Hucker and council members. I am Assistant Chief Administrative Officer Jerome Fletcher, and I'm testifying on behalf of County Executive Mark Elrich. The executive supports the bill's purpose to transfer the drafting of the county's Economic Development Strategic Plan from the executive to the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, given its maturity and expertise. He also supports the bill's requirement that the strategic plan include clear target metrics, strategies, and measures for increasing business activity in the county. However, as the bill stands now, it does not incorporate fundamentally important county goals related to climate change and racial equity. Since economic development, climate change, and racial equity are so closely intertwined, they must be integrated in our strategic planning efforts as opposed to being addressed separately to ensure complementary solutions. If they are not, we risk advancing one strategic priority at the expense of another. For economic reasons alone, Montgomery County should make clear that we are serious about proactively addressing climate change. Rating agencies are now considering the extent to which jurisdictions address climate risk. Businesses are seeking to minimize their risk by locating or expanding in jurisdictions focused on ensuring continuous commercial operations in the face of climate hazards, including supply chain disruptions and power outages. The executive firmly believes that the county's climate action plan has the potential to significantly advance our economic development efforts, and the economic development strategic plan has the potential to significantly advance our climate and racial equity goals. Therefore, we request the following. Bill 1021 be amended so that the relevant economic development measures are expanded to include advancing the county's goals related to 1, greenhouse gas reductions, 2, climate resiliency and adaptation, and 3, racial equity and social justice. And finally, MCEDC would be asked to incorporate these additional measures into the plan and work with the climate planning team and the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice to fully integrate climate resiliency and racial equity goals into the strategic plan. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Marilyn Balcombe. Ms. Balcombe, you will have 2 minutes as well. You may begin your testimony as soon as you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, President Hucker and County Council members, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Marilyn Balcombe. I'm the President and CEO of the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce. I'm speaking today on behalf of our chamber, along with the Montgomery County Chamber, Greater Bethesda Chamber, and the Greater Silver Spring Chambers. We represent over thousands of employers and many more employees, and we jointly support this bill. Bill 1012 primarily transfers the drafting of the county's Economic Development Strategic Plan from the executive to the county's Economic Development Corporation. We see this as a logical progression for the EDC and believe that the change will provide more efficient economic development services to the county. The motivation in forming the EDC was to have an independent private organization be responsible for economic development. The idea was that the private entity, governed by business experts, would have a greater impact on the recruitment and retention of target industries in the county. As the EDC continues to evolve, it makes sense for the strategic plan creation and implementation to be done by the same entity. For those reasons, the chambers jointly support 1021 and urge a favorable report. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Jane Lyons. Ms. Lyons, you have 2 minutes and you may begin your testimony when you're ready.
Good afternoon and thank you. Thank you, President Katz and council members, for the opportunity to provide testimony. My name is Jane Lyons and I'm speaking on behalf of the Coalition for Smarter Growth. Bill 1021, as we've heard, would require MCEDC to have an up-to-date strategic plan for economic development with clear metrics and concrete strategies updated every 4 years. And as we're all well aware, the county has not been adding jobs and growing at a desirable rate, but nevertheless, Montgomery County remains a very desirable place with much to offer to new employers and residents alike. And this council has made major steps towards making the county more friendly to investment with the new growth and infrastructure policy, adopting the regional housing targets, incentivizing construction on metro stations, and more. A comprehensive economic development strategic plan will be able to marry together these policies and goals and more. Since the final strategic plan would be adopted via resolution, it is our understanding that the plan would not be covered by the Racial Equity and Social Justice Act. So as such, we ask that MCEDC be required to cover racial equity or to consider racial equity and social justice when creating the economic development strategic plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Hucker, that wraps up the speakers for this public hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. This public hearing is now closed. Next is a public hearing on Bill 1121, Montgomery County.
Mr. President, I had texted you that I wanted to make a comment. That's quite all right. Thank you. Well, thank you. Just very quickly, of course, want to thank Councilmember Friedson for initiating this work and for collaborating with me on this particular proposal. But I just wanted to address a couple of points that were mentioned during the testimony regarding racial equity, social justice, and environmental sustainability. So this particular proposal, it is basically incorporating the economic development platform that the council adopted and the county executive also supported back in 2019. And so the idea is that this work will be using that framework. If you look at the economic development platform, the desired outcomes are a thriving and diversified economy, racial equity and social justice, innovation, and environmental sustainability. So in essence, the issues about racial equity and social justice and environmental sustainability are included in this proposal. And I am sure that when the committee takes that up, perhaps it could be more thoroughly embedded. But I just wanted to correct the testimony that alluded to those two areas to make sure everybody knows that actually they are incorporated in this particular proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. So this public hearing is now closed. And next is a public hearing on Bill 1121, Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation bylaws, live video streaming of open meetings. This bill would require the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation to adopt bylaws requiring the live video streaming of certain meetings, require the archiving of certain videos, and generally amend the law regarding the bylaws and meetings of the MCEDC. A Fed committee work session will be scheduled at a later date. Persons wishing to submit additional material for the council's consideration should do so before the close of business on April 6th. Ms. Kennedy, could you please introduce the speakers for this public hearing?
Yes, our first speaker will be Dale Tibbetts. Mr. Tibbetts, you may begin your testimony. You have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, President Hucker and council members. My name is Dale Tibbetts, and I'm Special Assistant to County Executive Mark Elridge. I'm here to testify in favor of Bill 1121 on his behalf. The county executive is committed to transparency in all levels of government, including in our public-private partnerships, such as the MCEDC. Therefore, the county executive supports this bill so that we can increase transparency and accountability to our residents as it relates to the economic development of our community. I'd like to note that in section 15A-4C1B states that the MCEDC administers the Economic Development Grant and Loan Program, MOVE Program, Biotechnology Investor Incentive Supplement, and the Small Business Assistance Program. We'd like to clarify that the MCEDC does not administer the Economic Development Grant and Loan Program or the Biotechnology Investor Incentive Supplement or the Small Business Assistance Program. MCEDC is responsible for qualifying eligibility for the MOVE program. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Joanne Antoine. Ms. Antoine, you have 2 minutes. You may begin when you're ready.
Sorry. Good afternoon, Council President Hucker and council members. For the record, my name is Joanne Antoine, Executive Director of Common Cause Maryland, testifying in support of Council Bill 1112, which aims to create greater transparency and accountability within the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. I first just want to thank Councilman Glass for sponsoring this bill. We had received numerous complaints about the lack of transparency within MCEDC and had planned on reaching out to you all. So we were excited when he took this on and that it's modeled after our statewide transparency bills. As you all know already, transparency is vital for an effective democracy, and that has proven to be even more true during a pandemic where we've had to use technology to maintain the public's ability to observe and participate in government proceedings, especially as those proceedings have to do with the work that's being done in response to the crisis. MCEDC provides critical support to businesses in the county, including support to business relief during the pandemic. They are greatly funded using county dollars and taxpayer dollars, and it's critical that their work be transparent. Video streaming is an easy and affordable way to achieve this. Also making sure that members of the county do not have to register or go through unnecessary hurdles in order to observe the stream. I did want to note for the record that we had a few friendly amendments that are included in our testimony. A lot of times when members of the public are tuning in for a meeting, those who are at the meeting are referring to documents and so forth. And we want to make sure that the public is able to actually understand the conversations that are being had during those meetings. So ensuring that, or I'd say requiring that meeting materials be made available at least 24 hours in advance, or worst case scenario, by the time the meeting start, ensures that the public knows what is actually being discussed. We also referenced meeting minutes. MCEDC has been making them available, but as of late, the recent minutes weren't online. It looks like they updated it, which is great, but again, requiring that meeting minutes, meeting materials be available and archived following meetings for those who are participating, I think is the best way forward. So this is a straightforward
pardon my
bill.
interruption, Ms. Antoine, your time is up, but thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Mr. President, that wraps up the speakers for this public hearing.
Thank you so much to all the speakers and to Ms. Kennedy. This public hearing is now closed. Next is a public hearing on a special appropriation to the county government's FY21 operating budget for the Department of Housing and Community Affairs in the amount of $500,000 for the Montgomery Housing Initiative Fund, Housing Opportunities Commission, Housing Production Fund. Action is scheduled immediately following this hearing. Ms. Kennedy, there are no speakers for this public hearing, correct?
No, there is one speaker,
Okay.
Mary Kolar. Ms. Kolar, you will have 2 minutes for your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Kohler, and I'm speaking on behalf of Montgomery Housing Alliance. MHA supports the special appropriation for the HOC Housing Production Fund. We commend the Joint Committee for recommending approval of the $50 million Housing Production Fund and thank the full Council for sponsoring the introduction of this special appropriation. The HOC Production Fund is an important step toward addressing the county's affordable housing shortage. It is also critical, however, that the county increase funding available to additional mission-minded housing providers through the Housing Initiative Fund, especially in light of the urgent need for preservation and production of affordable housing along the Purple Line corridor. To achieve this broader goal, we urge the Council to consider an additional $50 million bond for the HIF, as well as appropriation of funds for the proposed Affordable Housing Opportunity Fund. As housing providers and advocates, MHA members recognize the acute need for affordable housing in our region. In 2018, there was a gap of 48,000 units affordable to households with incomes at or below 50% of the area median income. Prior to the pandemic, half of tenants in Montgomery County were already cost burdened. Over the past year, need has only deepened. Additionally, the coronavirus crisis has further highlighted the racial and economic inequities that exist in the county's housing market, which are exacerbated by a lack of affordable units. We applaud the Council's commitment to affordable housing programs, including emergency rental assistance, and your unanimous affirmation of the housing targets identified in the 2019 COG report. In order to make meaningful progress toward meeting these targets, housing providers need both short-term acquisition financing and longer-term bond financing that will provide takeout funds for loans obtained through the Affordable Housing Opportunity Fund. Robustly funding the HOC Production Fund, the HIF, and the Affordable Housing Opportunity Fund will provide ready resources to purchase and preserve affordable housing. This is critical in order to stem further loss of affordable units and to produce new units at the magnitude required to address growing needs. Thank you for the opportunity to provide input.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. President, there are no more speakers.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kennedy. This public hearing is now closed. Could I get a motion to approve the special appropriation? The Fed Committee Chair.
Yes, if I could move it, please
Yes.
share a comment if I could. But I move the appropriation as before us.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the appropriation's been moved and seconded. Mr. Reamer.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. This is a fantastic step forward, and I want to thank a lot have helped bringing us to this point from a lot of people. The fund is phenomenal. It will enable HOC to get to scale and deliver as many as almost nearly 1,000 units of housing every year, with a third of them approximately set aside for low-income tenants, many of them very low income. This is a collaboration of the public and private sector, and it came to us and received a lot of diligent work and patient support from my colleagues here at the council. I want to thank first, in order of our review, the Fed Committee, especially Councilmember Friedson and Councilmember Jawando, and the GO Committee, Councilmember Navarro and Councilmember Katz. We worked on this through multiple sessions. We considered challenging fiscal implications, and we brought it through the other side after a lot of work. And Linda McMillan, patiently along the way, working with the team at HOC, best housing team you'll find anywhere in Maryland or in the country at our HOC, working with the county's finance department to get this all lined up. So we are gonna, has the potential, I believe, to be a national model of construction finance for housing. It follows the inspiration of social housing from Vienna, which is mixed income communities that have strong public ownership. And it is thrilling. You can see examples of it already in effect. Chevy Chase Lakes has a building today that is this same model. There is projects underway in White Oak, the Gateway project there. So this kind of housing is already underway in the county. What the fund is going to do is enable HOC with certainty to have affordable capital and take their projects to scale. So if the county can work with them to find land, we are going to be able to have a big impact by creating this fund. So thank you to all involved. This is a huge step forward. And our work on housing finance isn't done. Obviously, this budget will take up a number of additional proposals, and this one can be expanded as well. The annual fiscal impact is pretty modest because the fund is repaid annually. So lots of work to do, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you especially to both of you, but to everyone. I look forward to seeing this coming into fruition.
Thank you. Let me call on GO Chair Navarro.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Councilmember Reamer. I am so thrilled that we are at this moment to finally make this, take this important decision forward. It is so great to have had opportunities to meet, with you and deliberate on all of these different innovative approaches. When I was a member of the Council of Governments housing work groups, we had an opportunity during our retreat to also hear from a lot of different folks on all the different strategies that are taking place around the country and the particularly innovative ways that we could approach this issue. It is an issue that has a lot of different dimensions to it. And this one, I think it's a really awesome one, especially when, we're talking about issues of creative, innovative ways of providing financing and finding ways to leverage, resources and take advantage of opportunities. And so really want to thank everybody who worked so hard on this. You're absolutely right. Linda McMillan is really awesome. You know, HOC, so many different folks that came together to deliberate, to figure out how we could make this work and what would be the best way forward. And again, this I think can be the start of something really, really incredibly amazing. So I just want to thank also all my colleagues on the Joint Committee and everyone who has been working, you know, to research and to meet and to hear and learn. And here we are. Again, I think another really awesome tool to move forward on these housing goals. So thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Friedson.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Council President. Thank you to my two chairs, since I have the great privilege and humbling honor to serve on both committees that worked on this issue. This effort is really, I want to say, almost 18 months in the making. It shows that really good ideas and creative and innovative approaches take some time to marinate, particularly when we're in the midst of a crisis. But our housing challenges have only gotten more significant during this pandemic, not less. And so appreciate the fact that we have been thoughtful about this, that we have brought together all the different stakeholders and are going to make a significant dent in our housing crisis. This is just one of many efforts that this council has taken to address our housing affordability and housing shortage crisis that we currently face. We need to do more. We have more efforts in this budget that we're going to be taking up, but this is a significant step in a very positive direction on one of the most challenging areas of our focus, which is housing. And I look forward to seeing the benefits of this effort and look forward to this being one of the many building blocks on a significant housing prioritization that this council continues to show leadership on. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the special appropriation, please raise your hand. Excellent. That is unanimous. Thank you. Next is a public hearing on a supplemental appropriation to the county government's FY21 operating budget for the Department of Health and Human Services in the amount of $508,853 for medication-assisted treatment program. Action is scheduled immediately following this hearing. Ms. Kennedy, do we have speakers for this public hearing?
There are no speakers for this public hearing.
Terrific. The public hearing is now closed. Can we get a motion in support of the special appropriation, please? Supplemental appropriation.
So moved. And if I could just make a quick comment, Mr. President.
Councilmember Wright, seconds. Go ahead, Council Vice President.
Thank you. So we had a very productive joint committee session to discuss this item with our Public Safety Committee. And we are fortunate to have in Montgomery County Corrections what is nationally recognized as a very progressive and well-operated jail here in Montgomery County. Ms. Talley and her team do an absolutely outstanding job, and this grant will absolutely help folks that come in that are experiencing substance abuse challenges to be able to get the treatment they need on the front end, which will be able to help save some of the challenges on the back end. And serendipitously, that same week, the HHS committee had also received an update on the Avery Road Treatment Center, which is on track to move forward, which helps with the overall holistic vision and treatment as a whole here in Montgomery County. So this is an important appropriation. It's obviously a grant, so that's the best news. But I think we have a high degree of confidence in Ms. Talley, and this coupled with the Avery Road announcement is very positive.
Great news. Okay, we have a motion and a second from Councilmember Rice. All those in favor, please raise your hand. That's motion passes unanimously. Great. Okay, next is a public hearing on this supplemental appropriation to Montgomery County Public Schools FY21 capital budget and amendment to the FY21 to 26 CIP in the amount of $216,204 for planned life cycle asset replacement for MCPS. Action scheduled immediately following this public hearing as well. Ms. Kennedy, there are no speakers for this public hearing, correct?
That's correct.
This public hearing is now closed. Can I get a motion in support of this supplemental
So
appropriation?
moved, Mr. President.
The The chair of the Powerful Education Committees moves, and Ms. Navarro seconds. All those in favor, thank you, of the supplemental appropriation, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Terrific. Next is a public hearing on a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $5 million for locatable classrooms. It's an appropriation of the MCPS FY21 capital budget in the amount of $5 million. The county executive recommended approval for this supplemental appropriation on March 1st. Action is scheduled immediately following this hearing as well. Ms. Kennedy, there are no speakers for this public hearing either, correct?
That's correct.
Great. Can I get a motion in support of this supplemental appropriation?
So moved, Mr. President.
Councilmember Rice moves. Councilmember Friedman seconds. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Terrific. That motion passes unanimously as well. Now that brings us to the work session on the amendments to the FY21 to 26 CIP transportation. This work session will cover the amendments to that CIP for transportation projects. I'd like to thank my fellow committee members, Council Members Reamer and Glass, for their hard work on these recommendations on February 24th. The T&E committee actually voted unanimously on all the recommendations to the full council. And let me turn the floor over to Dr. Orland, who can walk us through the packet.
Thank you very much. These are the amendments that the executive sent over on January 15th. As you know, he sent over further amendments on March 15th, which will be taken up by the T&E committee later in April. And so this packet covers the January 15th amendments with the addition of the Purple Line related projects. That's a follow-up from some direction from the committee, which I'll speak to when I get to it. Director Conklin and his staff, I believe, are on the call, so they're available for you as well. Going right to page 3 of the packet, the first set of projects are 11 what we call consent projects. These are amendments, really don't have any suggested or recommended changes in scope or major cost or timing, but it really more is in the order of changing funding sources and some other very minor changes. And the committee recommends approval of all 11 of them. 3 of them, however, the executive has subsequently sent over further revisions to his recommendations. So those 3 will be taken up by the T&E committee, as I mentioned, in April. So I guess that's the first set of projects. Should I just assume consent with that? The second project is the Great Seneca. I'm sorry.
Without objection.
Oh, okay, thank you. The second is the Great Seneca Science Corridor transit improvements. This is a proposal from the executive to essentially create an interim midterm substitute for the Corridor Cities Transitway, particularly serving the Great Seneca Science Corridor area, as the name suggests. And it's for $1.5 million, and the funds would be spent in, I'm sorry, turn the page over here. In FY, well, actually, we're appropriating this money now in FY21 to advance the planning of that project. The recommendation from the executive is that only $500,000 of it be appropriated right now because it's coming out of the impact tax funds, and we're waiting basically to hear from Rockville and Gaithersburg as to whether or not they are willing to accede to putting up $500,000 of county impact tax money in those jurisdictions towards this project, since it serves both Rockville and Gaithersburg as well as the county. So the committee is recommending approval of what the executive sent over, $1.5 million, with currently an appropriation of $500,000.
Councilmember Rice.
Actually, so let me just say thank you for continuing to focus on this. We know that unfortunately the governor has not funded Corridor City Transitway project and keeps delaying that. And so, of course, folks in the Up County are stuck and relegated to driving for the most part. Only form of mass transit is our ride-on bus service, which we know is very difficult for most people to get to and from work effectively, and MARC train. And so from that perspective, from one of the largest areas in our county in terms of population, for us to still not have connectivity is something that, again, goes against all of our climate goals and everything else. So I just really want to thank the county executive as well as the T&E committee for your great work in continuing to understand the perils that the county finds itself in and continuing to work with us in trying to find solutions to try and move some of these projects, even if it may just be a portion of the project forward. So thank you.
My pleasure. Any other comments on this? Councilmember Reamer.
Thanks. I think this is a really interesting proposal. I commend the creative thinking at DOT. Trying to meet the transit and transportation needs of this area now while we continue to advocate for the CCT is essential. And this is a part of the county where we could have a lot more bio companies landing there, but the master plan, as you know, has been capped, and staged to the Quarter Cities Transitway. So we already last year initiated a new process to revisit some of those staging requirements and allow for some of the additional development capacity to move forward. This is an important part of the transportation solution to make it all work together. So I think it's really good news, and I think it shows, again, creative thinking at DOT. So join my colleagues in commending this and supporting it.
Thank you. Ms. Beck.
Yes, I did want to just point out one thing, that we are trying to work with the city of Rockville and Gaithersburg to get their contributions reflected in this project as well. And there are conversations going on with them. You may remember that previously there's a memorandum of understanding. We're in the process of trying to work through a new version of that agreement, because right now we're sort of sitting on money in those pots, and this is something that definitely benefits the cities as well as the county. So just wanted to let you know we are working on that.
Thank you. You said you're working to update the packet to reflect their contribution. There's no agreement yet on their contribution, correct?
There is not yet an agreement. We're still having those conversations.
Well, I agree with Councilmember Reamer. I think this is a terrific project, and I'm looking forward to it once again shows how much skin in the game the county has at investing in transit up county and mid county, and I hope the cities and the state match our contribution as quickly as possible. Okay, we have a recommendation from the committee. Can we move this without objection as well? Great. Looks like we can. Dr. Orland.
Thank you. The next project is one the committee actually discussed over 2 work sessions. In 2017, the council asked the executive to start a study, which they did, called the US 29 Mobility and Reliability Study. And the idea was to build upon the flash service that was being planned at the time and now implemented to be able to create an exclusive right-of-way, or a more exclusive right-of-way, if you will, for express buses in the 29 corridor from Burtonsville down to Silver Spring. They finished that study in the mid 2020, and the committee was briefed on it. And again, January 27th of this year. At that time, the executive had recommended that a particular option, which was to basically set aside the innermost lane in the southbound direction in the morning and the northbound direction in the evening as a combination bus, express bus, and HOV lane. And they did not recommend going forward with the median busway option, which is one that had originally been proposed by Sebastian Smoot and Sean Emerson of White Oak area. The committee reviewed that and felt that enough analysis of the 2 options really hadn't been done, and particularly the median option, that really needed to look more at what things could be done to actually more likely make it work, and try to put the 2 projects or 2 alternatives in more of an apples to apples comparison. The executive had recommended $6 million for the managed lanes option, the one where the buses and HOV would run the same lane, over 2 years in FY22 and 23, $3 million a year. What the committee said back on January 27th was come back to us with a cost estimate for updating the US 29 reliability and mobility study to sort of finish up that initial analysis to, again, put the council in a position where they can really make a valid choice between the 2 options. They did do that. They came back with an estimate of $250,000. So on February 24th, the committee made these changes to the executive's recommended PDF. One, change the name of the project to Bus Rapid Transit US 29 Phase 2, rather than saying it's a managed lane project, because again, the council hasn't decided which option it's going to be. So this is a more generic title. Secondly, change the subcategory from roads, which it had been in the executive proposal, to mass transit, recognizing that really first and foremost, the purpose of this project is to promote mass transit. Thirdly, to program the $250,000 in FY22, the money that would be needed to finish that initial study. But because it takes 6 months to complete, essentially push back the $6 million by 6 months. So instead of being $3 million in FY22 and $3 million in 23, it would be $1.5 million in 22, $3 million in 23, and $1.5 million in FY24. So be finished by the end of calendar year 2023. Fourth, to only appropriate the $250,000 at this time, that when the DOT comes back with the result of that and the council can look at the two options, they can decide which is the right option and then appropriate the $6 million. And finally, in terms of the funding source for this, rather than using geo bonds, using impact taxes. This is all planning. Planning can only be funded with forms of current revenue, not with borrowing. And so impact tax is more appropriate. So with those 5 changes, and there's a revised PDF on Circle 40, which is what the committee is recommending unanimously.
Okay, any questions on this? Okay, we have a committee recommendation. I think we're once again without objection, Dr. World.
Okay, thank you. The next set of projects are the Purple Line related projects. There's 4 of them. There's the Purple Line project, which essentially helps pay for the state's project to build the light rail line. And then there are 3 associated projects, the Capitol Crescent Trail project, the Bethesda Metro South Station South Entrance project, and Silver Spring Green Trail. Last summer, as part of the savings plan, excuse me, okay, sorry about that blip. Last summer, as part of the savings plan, the executive had sent over revisions to the latter 3 projects, Bethesda Metro South Entrance, Silver Spring Green Trail, and Capitol Crescent Trail, to reflect what had been a renegotiation between DOT and the state as to when the payments would be made on those 3 projects. Those negotiations were all done prior to COVID and prior to Purple Line Transit constructors announcing that they were going to walk off the job. And so, although it showed some deferral, it didn't show nearly the deferral that has happened since. The executive did, in January, recommend deferring $20 million from FY21 in the Purple Line project, 10 million FY22 and 10 million FY23, reflecting the fact that really not much had happened on the Purple Line either. What we pointed out in the February 24th work session is that really all 4 projects are sort of out of date. The 3 sort of county-led projects, if you will, because it didn't reflect the really up to a year now lost in advance of those 3 projects, the 2 trails and the southern entrance. And the Purple Line project itself needed some reevaluation. And the direction from the committee to DOT was to work with MTA to come up with a different expenditure schedule and try to have that in time for the executive's March 15th amendments, which they to a certain degree did. And so the executive sent over these 4 amendments, or 4 revisions, if you will, to what he said earlier. The Purple Line project, in talking with the state pointed out that, there has been some work on the Purple Line up to this point, and the state and the county should be paying some of that money in FY21 and not postpone all of it to 22 or 23. So he has now a revised PDF, which shows not a delay of 20 million, but a delay of 10 million from FY21 to FY22. On the other hand, it is recognized that on the other 3 county projects, really wasn't much done at all. And so for the time being, what the executive is recommending is basically deferring the entire expenditure schedule on all 3 of those projects by 1 year. And so the money spent in FY21 to be spent in 22, 22 and spent in 23, 23 and 24, et cetera. And so these 4 revised PDFs were not explicitly reviewed by the committee because it was a follow-up to what the committee had directed DOT to do, but they reflect really now is a pretty accurate assessment of when we would be paying, reimbursing the state for these projects. So this is, at this point, this is really a council staff recommendation that you approve the revised PDFs in Circle 41 through 48. And sorry for the long explanation.
Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you. Appreciate the recommendation from the staff. And Glenn, you've been working on the Purple Line for years, and there are every year there's something, or every other year there's something. So I appreciate your recommendation. I think it's really important for us. I want to thank Councilmember Friedson for his letter, and the delegates and the senators for their letter in opposition to the request that went to the state to consider single tracking. I think it's imperative for the train to have 2 tracks, and we need to build the pedestrian tunnel, and we need to build a high quality surface connection as well. It's not cheap, but this is Bethesda, and it's, I think we would do this wherever it is, if it was in Rockville or Gaithersburg or Germantown or Silver Spring. But this is a critical connection into the downtown of an area where we really want to help support our success. So I just think it's really important, and we need to get it right. So again, thanks to all those who spoke out and confirmed the need for us to get the Purple Line done, get the Purple Line done right the first time. Thanks.
Councilmember Glass. Oh, Dr. Orland.
Yeah, I apologize. I got so wrapped up in the delay money, I forgot the second part of of this issue, which is the trail. So on the Capitol Crescent Trail project, what I was referring to was deferring the funds by 1 year for the existing, the trail along the existing tracks, which would go there. Separately from that, the committee did vote unanimously to not delay the tunnel in Bethesda for the CCT. And so, and as Mr. Reamer pointed out, Mr. Friedson wrote a nice letter up with all the arguments for why it was not a good idea. We also have a letter from several delegates and senators to the state saying not to single track the line through the tunnel. It's also the planning board and WABA also don't support delaying the trail. So I apologize for leaving that part of it out. An important piece.
Not at all. Councilmember Glass.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just real quick, this entire project for the Purple Line and all of the related infrastructure, lots of fits and starts, but hopefully we're getting it back on track. And with our support here, it'll be dual tracked. And bottom line, and quite succinctly, we need to build the Purple Line, and we need to build the Capitol Crescent Tunnel Trail and Capitol Crescent Trail Tunnel. And I look forward to doing that with all of you and everyone in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Friedson.
Yep, thank you. I'll be brief since most of what I wanted to say was written in the letter and discussed at length at the committee. Really appreciate the staff recommendation here and all of Dr. Orland's work, and for the Transportation and Environment Committee for allowing me to join again this year, and for the vote again this year. This council took significant efforts, made a major renewed commitment last year that came with deliberation and significant thought, and look forward to the council renewing that commitment again this year, and once again rejecting the county executive's actions here. I will just say, when it comes to single tracking, the best way to destroy public transit is to single track it. Anybody who has heard the most dreaded words on Metro, we are now single tracking, can attest to that. And we're talking about critical infrastructure here. Trails are transportation infrastructure, and the Purple Line certainly is one of the most important priorities that the county has had for the last couple of decades, and to make decisions to shortchange aspects of it today that will have major implications to reliability and service. That's not the type of commitment that we make in Montgomery County when it comes to our transit commitments, and I would hope that we would stand firm as we did last year, stand firm again this year, and renew our commitments to the type of high quality, reliable transit and transportation infrastructure that will last not just for the next decade, but for the next century. Thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Rowland, I think we have a without objection again.
Okay, thank you. The next project is the White Flint Metro Station Northern Entrance. You recall last year the council programmed 1/3 of the money needed to design and construct this entrance, with designs assuming to start in FY22, which would be this summer, with the hope that by putting forward 1/3 of the cost, that would incentivize the state, WMATA, others to pony up the other 2/3 of the cost. That hasn't materialized yet. The executive, as a result, is recommending a 1-year deferral of this, with the hope that maybe 1 more year be able to find that match. And there is some prospects of that potentially with the memorandum of understanding between the executive and WMATA towards the redevelopment of the metro site. So the committee is unanimously recommending agreement with the executive to defer the expenditure schedule for this project, for the 1/3 cost of this project that includes by 1 year. So the design would start in FY23.
Director Conklin.
I realize council voted on this already, but I did want to just mention that we have heard that MTA has studied the Purple Line configuration and hope to hear results from them this summer, but recognize we won't be taking the vote on that item.
Okay. Any other comments on the current item?
Is this the White Flint station? Sorry.
Yes.
I do want to comment briefly.
Yeah.
If I could? Yeah. Thanks to the committee for the recommendation. Thanks to Councilmember Friedson for his advocacy here. We're hearing a lot these days about White Flint, which is good. You know, White Flint has been a huge priority for the county for a long time, going back to the White Flint master plan that the county council approved in 2011. Our role as a local government, first and foremost, should be building the infrastructure for the private sector to succeed. And I think the metro station is crucially important. The road network around the metro station to create the urban context is crucially important. The walkable infrastructure, sidewalks, other public amenities, those should be our first priorities. And if we do our good job with our public infrastructure, the private sector will thrive there. So I just want to say that because I know the executive's been talking a lot about the county building a facility at the metro, and I have some concerns about that generally, but fundamentally, you know, the first dollars that we spend should be on infrastructure, and let the private sector do its job, we do our job. So I'm enthusiastic about this proposal. I think we need to build this station entrance, we need to build Forest Glen, we need to help all of our nodes, you know, fulfill their potential. Thanks.
Councilmember Friedson.
Yeah, thank you. Just briefly, appreciate the Transportation and Environment Committee's work here. Appreciate the collaboration that the executive branch is ongoing, and the strong support of our delegation. Delegate Corman has been working on metro renaming efforts as well, along with the executive branch and our work as well. So this is part of a broader commitment. I don't think there's anything that we can do that would be more transformational than fulfilling the transportation infrastructure vision to allow for the private sector and economic development potential of this priority area that the council and the county executive have jointly and collaboratively focused on. And you know, when you talk about a community in an urban setting, the name of the transit station is the community. That's what you think of. That is the center. That's the core of it. This council has done a lot of work in focusing on how to realize that potential. And this second metro entrance would be a big part of increasing the walk shed and realizing the full potential of the livable, walkable, accessible community that we want in the Pike District. So this is a step in the right direction, and appreciate the continued efforts here along with our state delegation and the executive and the council. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Orland, I don't see any other comments, so I think this is without objection as well.
Okay. The next is the Forest Glen Passageway. This is the underpass connecting the Forest Glen Metro Station in the southwest corner of Georgia Avenue and Forest Glen Road to the southwest corner to the northeast corner. The council included money in the CIP last year for $18.5 million roughly, with a design to start in FY21. It would have been started last summer, and the project would have been completed in FY25. The executive is recommending a 2-year delay, so the design would start in FY23 and be finished in FY27. He also points out that the cost of the underpass is probably very much underestimated because recent experience that they've seen with the design of the Capitol Crescent Trail Tunnel and also the construction of the bike ped tunnel under Rockville Pike at Medical Center shows much higher costs. So the committee is recommending two things. First of all, that the project be delayed 1 year, not 2 years. The 1 year because effectively it has already been delayed by 1 year because there's not been any work on the design in FY21. So this would start design in FY22 and have the project finished in FY26. However, recognizing that the cost estimate is much too low likely based on the cost of building bike ped tunnels of this type, the committee is also recommending increasing, or actually more than doubling the cost of this project from $18.5 million to over $40 million within that FY22 to FY26 time period. And the new expenditure schedule is shown for you on page 7 of the packet.
Okay, I think this is without objection as well.
Okay, the Franklin Avenue sidewalk in Silver Spring. This is a sidewalk on the north side of Franklin Avenue between Colesville Road and University Boulevard. Effectively, the progress has been slow over the last year because due to COVID and other events. And so the recommendation is to delay the completion by 1 year into FY23, and the project will still be finished in FY23. The committee agrees with the exec on this. The next is Burtonsville Access Road. The exec recommends delaying this project by 1 year as well, recognizing that the state is unlikely, even at an accelerated pace, not to be able to have the widening of 198 put into the CTP and designed and constructed, or even starting the process of designing it until FY26. However, the committee felt otherwise. The committee felt that delaying the project again, and has been delayed several times in the past, really sends the wrong message to stakeholders in the area. And so the unanimous recommendation is not to delay this project by a year, basically keep it as approved in the approved CIP.
I don't have any requests on this. I will just add as the local council member that obviously this area is not only one of the most economically challenged in the county, it has been, in many ways quite neglected by county investment for a while. And I think that's one reason that the committee decided to resist the county executive's recommendation and to keep it on track. Doing so is consistent with our Vision Zero goals, obviously, but it's also consistent with the need to redevelop that area. And I can add, I think I'm the only one that would be aware of this, subsequent to the T&E committee recommendations on this, we just last week had a great meeting that I organized with the county executive staff and DGS and others with Edens, and I think we moved forward a recommendation of how to develop both their parcel and our parcel across the street as a larger public-private partnership. There are a lot of details to work out, but I'm optimistic about the reversal of the lack of progress in that area, and this sidewalk would only feed that momentum. So I'm grateful to the committee for moving that ahead. Any other comments? Okay, I think that's without objection as well.
Okay, the next project is, excuse me, excuse me, Observation Drive Extended, which runs from the northern part of Germantown up to Clarksburg. This project's been delayed in the past by 3 years and has also been divided into 2 phases to basically spread the project out over a longer period. The executive is recommending delaying it by another 3 years. The committee unanimously recommended not delaying it again, keeping it on the current schedule. And this is also, you might recall, the location for the right-of-way for the Carter Cities Transway in this area and potentially for the 355 BRT as well.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah.
Councilmember Rice?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Council President, and thank you again to the T&E Committee for your continued support. This is an incredibly important project for the Up County, and certainly one in which, again, as I stated before in the previous conversation, without the access to significant mass transit, we talk about the Purple Line, we talk about all the great things that are happening in other parts of the county. The reality is that the Up County continues to still wait. And so from that perspective, we need to keep this on track. If we are to ever anticipate getting folks out of cars and into other mass transit vehicles like BRT, we have to move these projects forward, or else we will continue to have the problems that we have as the Up County region continues to grow. And so from that perspective, I just really, again, want to thank the County Council, the T&E Committee for their continued support when it comes to the Up County, all of my at-large members and my other district council members who continue to support this initiative and moving it forward is appreciated by the Up County and certainly is something that they deserve. So thank you.
We're looking forward to the lunch on you. Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Councilmember Rice. I heard his comment there because I made some comments, that he's responding to, which I really appreciate. We've been working together for many years to keep this project on track, as you know. So I'm glad we're able to do it this year. I hope we're able to do it this year, and I appreciate the committee's support.
Important observation. Okay, I think this is without objection as well.
Okay, the next is a minor amendment. The executive is recommending reducing the expenditure in FY22 in the Advanced Transportation Management System project by $300,000. This would have been used for replacement of some surveillance cameras, with the DOT is pointing out that the lifetime of the current cameras could probably be stretched out a bit. And this is funded with, this project is funded with current revenues, so it's needed to help fund the operating budget and that sort of thing. So again, the committee agrees with the executive on this.
I think that's also without objection.
Okay, the next 2 projects were not recommended by the executive. I put them forward to the committee just to point out that they were eligible to be candidates for the CIP because facility planning is largely complete. One is Summit Avenue Extended in Kensington, and the other is Tuckerman Lane Sidewalk in Potomac. But what the committee recommended is not adding these to the CIP this year, but recognizing that they are more or less ready to be considered, and they probably will be considered in the next CIP, FY23 to 28.
That was good as well.
Okay. We also had comments from WABA, Washington Area Bicycle Association. This is on page 11, last page, in favor of adding funds and accelerating 2 projects, which actually the T&E Committee reviewed in the course of the last couple of months: the Amherst Avenue Bikeway in Wheaton and Fenton Street Cycle Track in Silver Spring. However, both of those projects are ones where there's still more facility planning to go. A final cost for each of them won't be ready till late this year, basically ready for the next CIP. And the recommendation was to not add any money to those projects right now. It'd be a little bit premature, and it wouldn't accelerate the projects anyway, so that's been put off. Actually, there wasn't a committee recommendation on that, as it turns out. There was just, there may have been, I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think there was actually a vote on that. It's more of a statement. And then there was a recommendation from the planning staff that DOT collect, because DOT collects transportation in lieu fees for development activities, that the council get regular documentation of that money, the limitations on how much has been spent, that sort of thing. And there was also a recommendation from the planning staff regarding the particular trail in Clarksburg, which has been directed to DOT for them to consider in their further development of that project. So with that, my report's complete, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. President.
I see no other, it's not an insult, Dr. Corlin. No other comments from my colleagues. With that, I think we have a T&E some CIP recommendations, amendments. Okay, we are, yes, Councilmember Jawando.
I just wanted to ask, Mr. Conklin said something earlier on the tunnel project. If he's still with us, could you I just want to know for information purposes, you said there's going to be a study that comes out. Could you just explain on the tunnel itself, or just explain what you meant there?
I can. A couple options for the potential single tracking were developed. One that replaces the track on the north side, one that replaces the track on the south side. The one on the south side obviously doesn't have the conflicts with the platform for the Purple Line that the one on the north would. So there was some advantage with that, although the one on the north is probably easier to implement. We had conversation with Purple Line staff, Secretary Slater and Administrator Quinn about with the re-procurement of the design build contract, they had an opportunity to consider a change in the design here. They agreed to evaluate whether or not the single track option would have an operational impact on the Purple Line, and whether this ped bike facility could be placed into the existing tunnel, at least for an interim period before the headways of the Purple Line were extended, to have cost savings to the county, and ideally to not have an operational impact on the Purple Line. They assured us that they're doing that work and expect to have some results this summer, later this spring or this summer, to share with us about whether there's an impact and those changes could be achieved or not. Along those lines, given that it's the end of the station, or end of the line, there's probably less likelihood of major operational concern, and there are no impediments to the path of the tunnel through the Apex building into the Elm Street Park that would materialize that aren't already there. So our ability to do that tunnel at a later date is not in jeopardy. So that's the work that we expect to hear from them.
And we could, so that makes sense. I mean, we're talking about $54 million. I think it makes sense to look at the operational impact if there could be mitigated in some way. And it's a very short period of, distance, right, that we're talking. What's the distance that the proposed single track?
It's around 1,000 feet between the switching that's required for the station and the portal onto Woodmont Avenue.
Well, I would assume Dr. Orland, we could come back to this at some point if we got a different, this analysis says we can be done with minimal impact and save this money, we could come back to it.
Yes, if we find that this out in the next month, if we get a letter back, in the course of April, obviously you can make a different decision if that's the council's will. Before you finalize the budget, you don't finalize the budget until the middle of May. And if we don't get an answer by then, I would recommend you keep the money as the committee's recommending in the project, and you can always come back and do a CIP amendment later to reflect any change in circumstances.
Okay, I appreciate that's helpful information. Thank you both.
Hey, thank you. All right, I think we have CIP amendment. Oh, Councilmember Reamer.
I'm sorry, I just have to comment now. I've been triggered. I think it's really wrong that the county executive broached unilaterally an idea to significantly cut the Purple Line from what the plan has been. I think he should have come to the county council and sought council approval before having any such conversation with the state about whether we would be comfortable with a proposal that would have a significant negative reduction. The governor was only reluctantly in favor of the Purple Line. We had to bring him to water on this and to open the door to allow for a cost savings that the state would achieve, is extremely risky, considering that the state has screwed this thing up in different ways and now they're over budget. If the state were to agree with building it as single track. The idea that, oh, we will just come back to it soon and then build it out as a double track system, that doesn't happen. Like, that never happens. We'd be stuck with it. That's the system we would be stuck with. And Director Conklin mentioned the issue about headways. The problem is the governor created the impression, or he, in order to save money in the future Purple Line, he said headways will only be every, I don't know how often, let's say 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
8 minutes. And this would lock that in. This, you know, or close to it. It would lock in that headway restriction. It was a very good compromise for the Democratic majority in the legislature to accept the governor's 8-minute headway funding strategy, because we can come back later and fight and get it down to 4 minutes. That's a perfect thing for us to agree to. So it was actually a really good bipartisan way to get to yes. But it assumed that we would be able to come back later and fight for more trains, more frequent trains. And if you had a single track, you would essentially not be able to do that. And actually, I think what this study is going to show is that the entire funding rationale of the whole project is undermined. And we might not even have ever gotten the federal funding in the first place if we had ever proposed this idea. So, you know, it's not necessary. The only reason it was proposed was to, I think, appease, but it didn't work, to try to appease those who want a pedestrian connection under Wisconsin Avenue. He said, okay, we'll take the train out and we'll let the pedestrians use it. That was the proposal. But that's not going to fly. You know, everybody wants the train to be on 2 tracks, and we're going to have to fund a pedestrian tunnel too. That's just the way it's going to have to be. It's a huge impact for the county. We're going to get far more out of it than we're going to spend on it. And let's do it right. Thanks.
Councilmember Reamer, the only I take issue with, we're not expecting any savings to the state's project here. The savings are related to the county's project.
Okay, well, the state wouldn't save money by locking in, first of all, fewer frequent trains or building a single track system.
Their amount of construction would be very similar either way. And it would be, I think, incumbent on the county to get the pedestrian path into a different location if more trains were desired or needed on this line. But that's what we're hoping to see from the results of their work.
Thanks.
Okay. I think we have amendments. We move
Mr.
on.
President, just very quickly.
Councilmember Friedson.
I was planning on being done. In fact, I was happy to just go along with the committee recommendation, but this has now been opened up. So I just did want to make a couple of points here. Number one, the county executive proposed that this project be cut last year. This is a rehashing of a bad idea from 12 years ago, and it's just as bad an idea today as it was 12 years ago when the county executive originally suggested to the state that single tracking here be an alternative. The then Democratic governor and his administration at the MTA that were major proponents of the Purple Line rejected that proposal as soon as they received it, just about. They reviewed it and they quickly rejected it. There is a very detailed and fairly damning analysis of what that would mean to headways. There is nothing that would be more devastating to the county's continued efforts related to the Purple Line and related to transit in general if we watered down transit projects ourselves and then asked the governor to bless it. And that's essentially what is happening here. We support the Purple Line, not the Lavender Line. Single tracking should not be an option. It should not be something that we entertain. And I think that it's really important that we look at the fact pattern here, that this is not a serious proposal to save money. This is a rationale being provided to justify a significant cut and a devastating retraction from our commitments on public transit and our commitments to returning the trail infrastructure that was removed from the county in order to build the Purple Line and was supposed to be returned better than it was taken. It would be removed from the community and never returned. That's just not something that I think that the county should support. That's why I believe we took the action we did last year, and I hope we'll take it again this year. Thank you, Mr. President.
We already took it. Director Conklin?
Again, I'm going to wait to see what the information from the state says before I would make a judgment about whether this has an impact on the Purple Line or not. Given the scale of investment here, I just think it's wise to have all the possible information available before decisions made.
Right.
Council voted on the approach, so that's where we stand.
It was my belief that only Trumpers are afraid of data gathering and information. But anyway, also, is there a difference between your current request for information and the 2009 proposal?
Yes, this is very limited. It's roughly from Pearl Street to the station platform. I wasn't involved in the 2009 request, but I believe that was Connecticut Avenue, a much more significant single track.
That was like a mile and a half, right? All the way.
That's correct. That was a recommendation from Councilmember Berliner to look at that.
Right.
And the idea there was to try to basically have the area that goes through the Columbia Country Club in East Bethesda be single track so that there be fewer trees taken.
That was a very strong recommendation from the previous T&E chair and local council member. And it was a far more radical proposal to single track a mile and a half of track. So anyway, I think we ought to limit the hyperbole and just wait for the data. But I think we have a recommendation that is, and I think we can move on to the Shady Grove Sector Plan, Minor Master Plan Amendment. Dr. Orland, you're staying for that, right? And we have Ms. Dunn.
I am, but Ms. Dunn is first.
Welcome. Ms. Dunn, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would here to review with the full council the recommendations in the Shady Grove Sector Plan, Minor Master Plan Amendment. I don't know if the chair of the Fed Committee wants to speak, and the planning board also would like to start with a few opening remarks.
All right, thank you. I believe we have consensus on everything in this, but we will walk through it. But this is a minor master plan amendment. It is, a broadly seeking to address the lack of development and progress in this part of the county. The county passed a ambitious master plan years ago, but there was a habit a number of years ago of setting into place all of these requirements or staging requirements for new development. And I think there was kind of a naivete about how easy it would be to hit those requirements and how willing the private sector would be to operate under those constraints. And basically, they just never came to pass. So the nice vision that the county adopted was largely unfulfilled. That's the issue we're trying to address in Great Seneca. It's a similar issue here. So one of the important objectives of this plan is to figure out the transportation strategy so that we can actually get what we want. And then I think a really nice update of the vision itself with a more modern, progressive view on transportation issues, walkability, bikeability, transit, than was adopted in the years past. And there's some exciting possibilities here. We've got Metro as a major landowner, and Metro came to the committee and shared that thanks to the tax incentive that the council adopted, they are really optimistic about their ability to do some very creative and meaningful work there and get some significant improvements in that part of the county. I've always thought that this was somewhat emblematic of some of our struggles as a community to have a transfer station at the end of our red line, where other communities have walkable downtowns. So we're trying as best we can here to kind of retrofit through development, public and private sector, to make this area, vibrant and fun and a place that, people will be even more excited to live and to work. So again, I'm pretty sure that there was consensus on everything. We'll have staff kind of walk through it all and see what the discussion items are. Thanks. I'm sorry. Let me thank the planning folks who are here. I see Chair Anderson, Carrie Sanders, the Chief of Planning for this region, I think, or for actually for the, Carrie, remind me, are you the Chief of Planning for this district or for the full county? I know you're not going to.
For the mid-county, so it includes this area. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep, and then Nikosi, I don't know if Nikosi's on. Great team here, has been working on the ground for some time. So thank you, Chair Anderson, for leading this department through a very constructive process and bringing us a very strong recommendation. And I look forward to getting this passed.
If I could just have one word, and I'll keep it very short. I stand corrected. I said at the public hearing it was a happy little plan. Maybe it's not such a little plan, but it's a happy medium to large size plan. So I'll take that with the Fed committee amendments to our work product, and I think that it is an excellent result. I want to say that we had a great team on this plan. I want to especially highlight Carrie Sanders because she has done a fantastic job across the board since she came to the agency, and I think her insight and experience in transportation planning from Alexandra, which, as you know, as the former employer of Gwen Wright, is the source of all good ideas and personnel who we've poached over the past few years. Nowhere is that more true than for Carrie Sanders. We have a lot of great people, but I think you were absolutely right to highlight her and her, the combination of her experience with transportation and land use. She's a great leader, really smart person, privileged to work with her and the rest of the team. So thank you for recognizing her in particular, as well as Nikosi and the other folks who worked on the plan. We really appreciate it.
Super. So let's have staff walk us through.
Okay. If you've noticed, the staff report for this agenda item today is actually in two parts. There's agenda item 11A and 11B. So my staff report really covers 11A. And included in it are really every single recommendation related to land use, zoning, urban design, sustainability, public facilities, historic resources. All of these items are included in 11A. I basically included everything that had been brought before the Fed committee so that all the council members can see them. I'm not going to focus for time reasons because while it isn't called a minor master plan amendment, Chair Anderson is right, it covers a very large area, over 2,000 acres. And the reason that I think the motivation for it was a minor amendment, but when staff started to look at the plan area, realized that because of the rewrite of the zoning code and the comprehensive map amendment that occurred in 2014, there were zones in this area that needed to be updated. They were no longer available under a sectional map amendment to be put down. So they went through every zoning on all the land. And in fact, it has been quite a broad area to cover. That said, there was a lot of consensus on a lot of the planning board recommendations related to everything that was non-transportation that's in my staff report. And rather than go through every one singly, they are all in the staff report. I will focus on the ones where there was discussion, unless somebody wants to stop me and bring something else up, and I'm happy just to interrupt me. The plan is organized around different topic areas, I think 8 different focus areas, one of them being urban design. There are quite a few urban design recommendations that broadly cover the whole planning area, and they are about making it a more pedestrian-friendly, mixed-use, urban type area that will be compatible with having a end-line metro station. The committee reviewed each of those recommendations and unanimously concurred with the planning board's area-wide urban design recommendations. The next area of focus, the larger one, was basically land use and zoning, and this took quite a bit of the staff report. The area of the Shady Grove sector plan amendment is broken into different neighborhoods. There are 5 Shady Grove metro neighborhoods. The first one is Metro West. And the sector plan recommends increasing the potential for new transit-oriented development in this location. There's a WMATA Metro property here that includes surface parking lot and something called the Somerville property. And the plan had a recommendation for CR zoning for this with a total FAR of 2, commercial of 1, residential of 1.5, and a height of 200 feet to promote high-intensity mixed-use development at the Metro station and to help contribute to the sector plan's public benefit goals. In reviewing it, council staff saw that currently today it is a TDR receiving area. This is a holdover from the pretty much the sectional map or the district map amendment that occurred in 2014. Back in 2010, when the CR zones were created, the BLT program was also created, and those things went hand in hand. If you were doing CR zoning, you were going to be required to contribute to the BLT program. When we did the district map amendment, we translated some existing zones to CR. Some of these had TDR receiving areas on them, so you were actually getting a double kind of programmatic hit there. You were in CR required to do BLTs, and now you're in the TDR receiving area. The planning board has recommended that it just be a CR zone and no longer a TDR receiving area. And the first recommendation was, though, to slightly increase the residential on the WMATA property so that it has an equivalent amount of residential density to what it would have had under a TDR receiving area. And the committee was unanimous in that recommendation, so they would recommend rezoning this WMATA Metro property to CR of 2.25, C of 1, that's commercial FAR, residential FAR 1.75, and retaining that height of 200 feet. Again, this is to implement more intense zoning at the Metro. If there's any questions. For the other properties in what is called the Metro West neighborhood, the committee was unanimous in supporting the planning board's recommended zoning there. There were also some unique urban design recommendations related to the Metro West neighborhood. Those were reviewed by committee. They were also unanimously supported by the committee. The next neighborhood is called Metro South. It also had a property that had been a TDR receiving area. So again, the committee looked at that and increased slightly the residential density on this property to be consistent with what would have been a TDR receiving area density. And so the committee recommends 3-0 that the vacant Somerville property be rezoned to CR of 2.25, a C of 0.5, a residential FAR of 1.75, and the height of 120 feet. And this is consistent with the other densities. There was other properties in the Metro South neighborhood, and again, the committee was unanimously supportive of the planning board recommendations for zoning on those properties. And with the urban design guideline recommendations specific to the Metro South neighborhood. The third neighborhood is called Old Durwood, and this is the oldest portion of the sector plan. It has historic resources that date back to the 1880s. The sector plan seeks to sort of reestablish the residential character of this neighborhood. There is the vehicle emissions station is in this neighborhood. One of the recommendations in the plan is related to possibly the relocation of this VEEP station and what would happen if that were to occur. In discussing this with the committee, Councilmember Friedson mentioned that the way that it had been phrased in the plan could lead the public to believe that the council has more control over relocating this state facility than may actually be the case. And so he proposed some more softened language that would at least indicate to the public that should it be relocated, this is what the master plan recommends would occur on this property. And the committee concurred with that suggestion 3-0. For the others, there's other properties in this neighborhood. There's the Towns, which is a multifamily complex. There's the Durwood Bible Church property and the Durwood Business Center property. And for all of these properties, the committee unanimously supported the planning board's recommended zoning and land use. There's a last property in this area which was discussed. It's the Durwood Store and Post Office. It is being recommended for the master plan for historic preservation. That'll come as a separate actionable item for that master plan later. It had been recommended for CRN zoning with a certain density and height. It did receive positive testimony in support of having this property be rezoned and be a historic property that is recognized in the Master Plan for Historic Preservation. One of the recommendations related to it, though, about being able to implement that adaptive reuse and make flexible use of the property would be the ability to waive or seek relief from some of the development standards in the zone. The CRN zone is only a standard method zone. It doesn't allow for review by the planning department. It would not allow for any change in those development standards. So the committee has recommended 3-0 that rather than be a CRN zone, this property be CRT zoned, which has an optional method which would allow for complete flexibility of those development standards, which is supportive of having an adaptive reuse of this historic structure. The fourth neighborhood in this area is the Metro North, which also includes a huge Ramada property. There were zoning recommendations and urban design recommendations related to this property. And again, the committee unanimously supported the planning board's recommendations. There's also the Shady Grove Station property, which has what is called the West Side, and then Jeremiah Park. There are two separate sections of this Shady Grove Station area, which is 45 acres in size. For the West Side property, there is development that's already ongoing with the EYA Development Group. And the Department of General Services has been involved with that. It's a public-private partnership. And the zoning recommendation for this was supported by the committee. The other portion of that property, the Jeremiah Park portion of it, which includes the bus depot, and it's adjacent to a parks training facility, which is about 10 acres in size. There are zoning recommendations related to this. We did receive testimony at the public hearing in support of relocating that MCPS bus depot. I know that the GO committee was briefed on the potential for what is happening with the potential bus relocation just on Monday of this week. But the committee unanimously supported the zoning and land use recommendations for this area that were proposed by the planning board. Moving along, the next.
Can I just quickly add? Can I just make a quick comment as GO chair? So, I just wanted to share with everybody that we did touch upon the issue of the bus depot relocation. It's not as there wasn't a particular proposal presented to the GO committee, but there was a update basically saying that there are considering a number of possibilities, obviously, because some of these things require some possible deals regarding these sites. They couldn't, discuss those openly, but that they are definitely on it. And Mr. Dice did share with the committee that within the next 3 weeks or so, they would have something more substantive to share. But again, I guess the bottom line is that yes, they're working on it, but we did not receive a specific plan. And MCPS was there, and they are working together. Obviously, the electrification of MCPS's buses plays a role in this particular strategy, and we should be receiving briefings pretty soon. Thank you.
President, may I?
Yes, Councilmember Katz.
Thank you. And I too wanted to chime in on this one. Obviously, the committee chair, Councilmember Navarro, was extremely correct in what she said. This has been an ongoing situation for quite some time. It's in my district, but it touches her district and affects many, many people in the district and beyond. And I know that there have been some in the neighborhood in that area that have been very concerned that we had forgotten about them. We have not. This is, as I said at our committee meeting on, I guess it was Monday, whatever day our committee meeting was, that we certainly knew where it shouldn't be. We just couldn't figure out where it should be. But I do believe that we're finally getting to a blueprint how to straighten this situation out. So thank you very, very much for all involved.
Agreed. Ms. Dunn?
Okay, thank you. The next area of the plan is called the transition areas. And it includes what's called the Shady Grove Crossing. It's quite a large 65-acre development located south of the town of Washington Grove. The town of Washington Grove has acquired a 12-acre historic meadow there, which is now called Washington Grove Conservation Park. And MNC PPC maintains another 12-acre meadow or park that is not yet accessible other than by foot. You did receive testimony about the parks property from the town of Washington Grove, requesting that the plan at least contain language that would allow for the potential possibility that solar or community solar could be located on that park property. As the plan was transmitted to the council from the planning board, the language had recommended that it be an active recreational use, and the committee concurred that and recommended 3-0 that the language just be a little more broad. It doesn't specify that it has to be active recreation or that it has to be community solar, but that either of these things can occur on this property in the future.
Any other questions? Councilmember Katz.
Yes, thank you very much again, Mr. President. This was a major discussion. I know Washington Grove would very much like to figure out a way that we could have community solar in that area, and we continue to work towards that. The planning board, not to put words in their mouth, had some issues that I know that they are discussing and to figure this out. But we felt that, and the committee felt, I'm not on the committee, but was there for all these discussions. The committee felt that if there was a broad discussion, if there was a flexible way to include the possibilities, that would get us to the place that we hoped that we could get to. So I appreciate and I thank the committee for their help on this one as well. Thanks.
Ms. Dunn?
Okay, thank you. The other large property that's in this transition area is called the Grove Shopping Center. It's a 16-acre neighborhood shopping center. It also has a vacant 4-acre wooded property that lines it with a stormwater management pond and a linear wooded area as well that is owned by the county. There were zoning recommendations for the property along with several other amenity and design recommendations, and the committee unanimously supported these planning board recommendations. The next area of the plan is called the Shady Grove Road Corridor. The plan proposes residential and non-residential development along this corridor. New mixed-use development for these properties will complement existing and approved developments that already have been developed there. This area includes the Shady Grove Plaza, which is at the corner of 355 and Shady Grove Road, southwest corner, a vacant Casey-owned property in an area that includes the U.S. Postal Service Center, a CarMax Auto Sales Center, and another vacant property. For the Shady Grove Plaza, there are actually multiple properties within this larger area. It is that shopping center you think of, but also a few of the properties just south of that. One of these properties is the King, Buick, and Mitsubishi property, and you received testimony on that as well. The testimony was provided from Miles and Stockbridge on behalf of EYA in support of a slight increase in the residential density for this property. The property that the planning board proposed was CRT of a 1.5, commercial of 0.5 FAR, a residential of 1 FAR, and a height of 80 feet. And the testimony had requested that the residential FAR be increased to 1.5, which would equal the total FAR. On January 21st, the council has also received a preliminary annexation plan for this property from the city of Rockville, who also support this slight increase in residential zoning as it would complement other things that they have already developed within the city of Rockville in this area. So the committee discussed this and concurred with all the other land use and zoning recommendations for the Shady Grove Plaza larger properties and smaller properties, with the one exception of the King, Buick, and Mitsubishi property, in which case they agreed 3-0 to increase that residential density from a 1 FAR to 1.5 FAR as requested in the testimony. As far as there's another vacant property in the U.S. Postal Service, CarMax, and other properties in this area called the Shady Grove Corridor. The committee unanimously supported the planning board's recommendations on land use and zoning. The next area that the plan is broken into is called the Upper Mill Creek area. It's a 54-acre area and has 3 major properties. The Montgomery County's Division of Fleet Management, Equipment Maintenance and Operations Center is there, along with the Maryland Department of Transportation building and Roberts Oxygen. Most of these properties were having just a reconfirmation of their zoning. There was a slight change in one of them, and the committee unanimously supported the planning board's recommendations for this area. Next are the planned development zone properties. These are the ones that I alluded to when I said that the sectional map amendment or the district map amendment in 2014 basically rezoned much of the county for the new zoning code, but in some cases recommended that master plans, when they are done, replace certain zones, in this case the planned development zones, with compatible zones for what has been developed on the ground. And that's what's been done in this plan. The planned development zones have been replaced with either an R90 zone or a townhouse low density zone, and the committee supports these recommendations. And the last major area is the industrial areas, which actually comprise quite a bit of the plan area. The non-residential development in the plan, which is mostly industrial, comprises about 3.3 million square feet. It includes WMATA rail yards and the transfer station, something called the Oakmont Avenue Industrial Corridor, Frederick Road Automotive Corridor, and Crabs Branch Office Park. Each of these has a zoning recommendation. Many of them were reconfirmations of existing zoning, and the committee went through these and unanimously supported the board's recommendations for the industrially zoned properties in the plan. That pretty much completes the land use and zoning recommendations. The next category of focus for the plan was housing, and the plan makes several recommendations related to housing. The one the committee focused on the most was the very first one, which is stated as requiring 15% moderately priced dwelling units as the highest priority public benefit for all new development. And the committee discussed strengthening the language for that bullet. Well, the next bullet, which said publicly owned properties, including WMATA, should be encouraged to provide up to 25% NPDUs. And the committee had a discussion about other properties in the county, other WMATA properties, and other county-owned properties, and what prior master plans have provided as far as language and guidance for the amount of affordable housing that should be devoted to these properties, and sort of split them out. So for the WMATA property, the plan supports encouraging up to 25%. You know that the legislation passed for WMATA properties would in fact support 25%, because if you do the 25%, you get the tax incentive. So encouraging that is not in conflict with that, but that a minimum would require 15% on a WMATA property. In fact, they didn't take advantage of the 25% NPDU tax incentive. And then for county-owned properties, split that one and create a new bullet that is much more in line with what was done in the Forest Glen Montgomery Hills plan and the public property that is on Spring Street and Georgia Avenue, which stated that it should strive for 30% of the units as affordable, with 15% affordable to households earning at that NPDU level, and 15% of the units for households earning 50% or less of AMI.
I'll just add there, Pam, that WMATA explained to us that their property there has a $100 million infrastructure expense associated with it. So any development there has to be able to figure out how to make it work with, a really, really big expense that, has to be fit into the balance sheet. So on the one hand, they're very optimistic because of the tax incentive. On the other hand, they feel like we ought to just approach this openly and see what can be done without making any further assumptions. So that was kind of how we approached it.
Councilmember Jawando.
I just wanted to add, I'll resist to say too much about that. If they can't get it done at that price, it probably shouldn't be done. But the second part of that was at my recommendation, and I appreciate the committee and my colleagues putting it forward, that we would set a precedent as we have done in previous plans of on publicly owned land. It's trying to achieve maximum affordability, not only top line level, which at least 30%, but also getting half of those 15% below 50% of AMI. And so, and if we can beat that, great. But I think we want to set that as a goal. So I appreciate that being added as well. Thank you, Ms. Dunn.
You bet. Okay, Ms. Dunn.
The next section of the plan really focused on parks, trails, and open spaces, and it listed several goals for creating parks, trails, open spaces in the area. It talked about a network of activated parks to facilitate gatherings around the metro and at the Grove, prioritizing acquisition, development, and programming for new parks, creating a robust trail system of natural and hard surface trails, enhancing the existing parks and open spaces, protecting historic and cultural resources. The committee went through these recommendations related to all of those goals that I just mentioned, and they concurred with the planning board's recommendations with respect to these goals, with the one exception that, again, here there was a reference to the Piedmont Park property, where the language currently in the plan has suggested active recreation. And again, you've heard that the committee supports a more flexible language be added that says active recreation or potential use for community solar is appropriate for this location. The next section of the plan is about sustainability. There are recommendations related to forest and tree cover and impervious surfaces, water quality, air quality, and carbon emissions. And the committee went through all of these and unanimously concurred with the planning board's recommendations with respect to them. There's a section on historic resources. It gets more into depth about the Durwood Store and Post Office, and it also looks at other historic resources in the area. It does remove some of the historic resources that had been in the 2006 plan from the locational atlas, and then has also a recommendation about installing interpretive markers related to antebellum history in this area, and the committee concurs with those planning board recommendations as well. And then last, we have community facilities. In one part of the plan, there has been a recommendation for a fire rescue station on a vacant property that's been supported by the county executive and by the committee. They could co-locate a police substation there if that's possible. That is in the plan as a potential. There's a paragraph on libraries, and I do want to note, we did receive a note from the executive branch. The plan states that the county, the Department of General Services has entered into a lease agreement with EYA for the library. They just want to change that language slightly in the plan to say that the Department of General Services maintains an option to enter into a lease agreement with EYA for the library. So they don't want to set up public expectation if, in fact, I guess that doesn't come to pass. So I wanted to highlight that for the council. There's also a recommendation related to recreational facilities, hopefully the potential for a recreation center with potential aquatic features is something that could occur in this location. And then with respect to public schools, analysis done, we're looking at all of the different schools in the area, elementary, middle, high school, looking at them across the plan boundaries into neighboring clusters as well, because sometimes school students don't go to schools just based on sector plan boundaries. And if you looked at all of this and you looked at the earlier 2006 plans proposal for the Jeremiah Park school site that's supposed to be co-located with a park of 8.1 acres total, there will be enough potential capacity to house the development from the plan. And the committee concurred with all of those recommendations. That concludes my part of the.
All right. Thank you, Pam. Is Glenn here?
I am. So ready.
Glenn, I don't know if you can hone in on the big topics and then just see if anyone else has questions about the small ones, because I think people are probably eager to move as quickly as possible.
I will try to do that. The first item on page 3 is the transportation appendix mentions 3 possible minor operational improvements at Shady Grove Road and 355. And the committee's recommendation, by the way, all these recommendations in transportation were unanimous, was to mention those as possibilities, but not to recommend them as explicit requirements in the plan. And let me know if there's.
Keep going. Yeah, just keep going.
Keep going. Okay.
I think folks will make themselves known if they want to ask a question.
All right. The next one is the one we spent the most time on, which is the currently master plan Goody Drive interchange. A huge, robust discussion on that one. In summary, let me just refer you to the language on the bottom of page 5 and 6, and I would like to read it because it's really kind of important. Because what happened here was the committee did say a lot of things, and it was fairly clear where they were going, but it relied upon the staffs, DOT, Park and Planning staff, and myself to try to capture in words where they were going. And I did check with the committee members afterwards, polled them, and they agreed with the language. So I won't read all of it, but basically what it says is that the sector plan recognizes that the concept of a Goody Drive overpass over 55 appears to be feasible. However, before proceeding with that, the strategy steps would be as follows. First, implementation of intelligent transportation system and other operational improvements to improve the intersection performance, reduce conflicts with pedestrians and bicyclists, and prioritize transit operations. Further evaluation of changes to the intersection configuration to improve multimodal safety and traffic operations while also maintaining or improving the multimodal performance of the intersection. If the first 2 strategies do not result in achieving what is the then current growth and infrastructure policy standard, the current standard is 63 seconds per vehicle. But in the future, when this comes up, it may be different. You look at this every 4 years. Then construction of a major modification to improve vehicular capacity should be implemented. Modification of this intersection, whether at grade or by overpass, should include all reasonable measures to improve multimodal mobility, including comfortable sidewalks, low-stress bikeways, and bus rapid transit facilities. And finally, the construction of this major modification must not be prioritized for county funding over the construction of the BRT on 355 within the plan area and its vicinity. And it must be constructed in a way that would not inhibit pedestrian, bicycle, and transit accessibility. 2 related recommendations from the committee, which you were explicit about in the meeting. One is that the congestion standard for this intersection should not change. It had been proposed to change from 63 seconds per vehicle, which is the same for the entire policy area, up to 100 seconds per vehicle. The committee unanimously said, no, don't do that. It was just confirmed 4 months ago. And finally, there was unanimous agreement to eliminate this interchange as a staging element, no longer have as a staging element for the Shady Grove plan. And that was something that basically pretty much everybody concurred with, including the city of Rockville. Discussion or move on?
We talked about this a lot. We basically did not make a final decision. We are not trying to make a decision about how this exact intersection will be configured. What we set forward was a number of priorities, and we'll look to planning and DOT to work together with SHA in the future at such a time as, there is actual possibility of doing something here. So we kind of took a prioritization approach rather than adopting one specific intersection configuration. Anyway, that was what we felt like was the right thing to do. Thanks.
Is there any other discussion, or should I move on?
I think you should probably keep moving. Yeah, I'm just.
I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you. The next is the non-auto driver remote share. The committee made a few changes to what is the recommended non-auto driver remote share in the Shady Grove area. First of all, did concur with the final draft recommendation that within the metro station policy area, the core of this planning area, that the goal should be 50% of people, of residents in that area should eventually should commute to work by means other than driving a car. For people going to work in the metro station policy or from wherever. The goal should be set at 20%, taking into account people coming from outside the area, but also people who live in the area commuting to work within that area. And finally, for the remaining part of the area, which is mostly the Durwood policy area, just to confirm the standard that you set as part of the growth and infrastructure plan with policy, which was 69%, or I'm sorry, 39% for a non-auto driver mode share. I'll just keep going unless there's, just interrupt me if there's a question. The next issue had to do with target speeds. The planning board recommended that the target speeds within the metro station policy area is 25 miles per hour. What a target speed is the goal for both design and operations to try to get traffic to go to that speed. There was no disagreement at all about the 25% within the policy area. There was some suggestions from myself and from DOT that the recommendation of 30 miles per hour for the roads outside the metropolitan policy area, typically Shady Grove Road, Redland Road, Krabs Branch Way, and 355 outside the core, should be higher than 30 miles per hour. 30 was unrealistic. However, we felt, no, we should ascribe to the 30%. You were unanimous on that. The Mid-County Highway, there was a suggestion basically just to leave the Mid-County Highway alone in this master plan, don't make any changes, and to remove the discussion on page 115 about it. Just take it out of the plan. DOT had a minor comment about making sure that the streets within the metro station area aligned across from each other, and the Fed committee agreed with that, and also to have the spacing of the roads be more even than what is showing in the plan on map 51. DOT expressed concern in their comments about making sure that there was the ability to at least protect the amount of parking, long-term parking at the Shady Grove station for commuters coming from elsewhere. And I drafted some language to try to propitiate that. However, the committee felt unanimously that just staying with what the planning board had recommended was sufficient. The plan confirms earlier recommendations in other plans. One was to create eventually a Shady Grove MARC station adjacent to the metro station, just as there is in Rockville, and to also call for a 25-foot easement to be dedicated along the east side of the current tracks within the planning area, if any development were to occur, to basically allow room for a third track, and the committee concurred with that. The city of Rockville recommended that the plan include a new metro station at Montgomery College, and the committee concurred with that. The city of Rockville had recommended a pedestrian grade separation over or under 355 at King Farm Boulevard. The committee unanimously disagreed with that. They did not want to include that in the plan. They felt that was counter to the kind of planning we would have with a lot of walkability and bikeability. That would be very unlikely that that bridge or tunnel would really be used. There was a comment from a couple of residents in Montgomery in Washington Grove about not connecting Amity Drive and Krabs Branch Way, but the committee concurred with the final draft and prior master plans that should be connected. A lot of recommendation, a lot of testimony at your public hearing on this plan regarding a planned shared use path between this Amity Drive, Krabs Branch Way connector and the town of Washington Grove. But as pointed out, that actually the folks who were commenting were really looking at an earlier draft of the plan. And right now there is no particular alignment that is identified in the final draft plan. DOT is looking at 4 different options, one of which is the one they object to, but explicitly saying in the plan. But nevertheless, the committee agreed with staff's recommendation that the plan not be changed in this regard, that it was correct in characterizing that trail. There are, on page 13, there were 3 sets of minor technical amendments that planning staff had forwarded to us subsequent to the bikeway plan, subsequent regarding bikeways, subsequent to the work session, and the committee concurred with that. And finally, we actually got the full fiscal impact analysis late last week from the executive branch from OMB. It's in the addendum to this packet for today. It shows cost of a little north of $700 million worth of improvements that this plan would require. Nearly half of that would be for this Metropolitan Grove metro station, and virtually all of it having to do with transportation, and most of it, in fact, nearly all of it having to do with either filling out the local street network around the metro station with local collector streets, or refitting roads to allow more Vision Zero elements and bikeways, an explicit extra amount strictly for bikeways and sidewalks, and a few other matters. So that's for your information. That's included in the packet. And that concludes my report.
There you have it, Mr. Council President. Committee recommendation, a consensus plan, well prepared by the incredible team at planning. You know, it's a good plan when it goes through smoothly, and hopefully will yield real results for a part of the county that really wants to have the same quality of life in the same community context and fabric that is available in other parts of the county. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks to you and the rest of the Fed committee. Thanks to the planning staff and the DOT staff for a great minor master plan amendment. If there are no further comments or questions, I think we are adjourned. Good work, everybody.
Okay.
Through the front doors if a lift is needed to